Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to Andrew Mumford from Precisely, who's going to be hosting the next session. Big thank you to Precisely for sponsoring today's event. I won't take up any more of your time, Andrew. Thanks for joining us today. Very warm welcome. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Philip. So, hello everyone, my name's Andrew Mumford. I'm a senior solution consultant at Precisely, and today the topic we're going to be talking about is how we can help you power the shift to agentic ready data with data integrity. So it's really all about enabling that autonomous AI with data that you can trust to enable all those different new use cases. So let's get started. So right now, businesses are dealing with a lot. So things like geopolitical shifts, new operating models, economic volatility, sustainability pressures. All of this requires faster, more intelligent decisions. And AI has the potential to help with all of that. McKinsey estimate that AI could help create more than $4 trillion in economic value. So through AI, and that are huge numbers, really. However, 95% of these initiatives fall short of really delivering value, delivering growth. And why is that? Well, essentially, a lot of it's down to data. 72% of execs say that managing data is a top barrier to AI growth. And to put it simply, companies that prioritize their data strategy are going to be the ones that win. The rest are going to fall behind. And that's where Precisely comes in. We're helping organizations really move from experimenting with AI to really drive decisions that matter. And in fact, if you think about it, every AI use case ultimately comes down to the data. If your foundation isn't sound with good quality data, sound governance, and the right kind of infrastructure, it's not going to lead to the potential that it could reach. So let's have a look at how AI is changing the game, particularly agentic AI, and what we can do with it and how we can reach that potential. So what's really different about AI right now is no longer just about generating content. We've sort of moved ahead from that. It's actually taking action now. Agentic AI is doing things like reading signals, making decisions, executing multiple workflows across multiple systems. And that shift is transforming organizations. So you can see that across departments, from product and go-to-market teams, services support, and so on. For instance, development and engineering agents are synthesizing customer feedback and turning those directly into requirements, generating code, testing it. Sales and marketing, of course, we're seeing agents proactively identifying opportunities, building campaigns. Services and support, autonomous agents resolving issues, escalating only when it matters. And in fact, IT and security, which is probably one of the most mission critical areas, agents are continuously monitoring environments, resolving issues, triaging threats. The common thread across all of these is things like speed and autonomy, but that only works if the data is trustworthy. Because when agents, they act fast, bad data multiplies your risk. So you can see that the consequence of getting it right or wrong, is so urgent. So agentic AI, the key point here is that agentic AI, it doesn't just accelerate your work, it accelerates the consequences of bad data and also the benefits of getting it right. That's why it's so important to make sure that you've got it right. The challenge here is that what we're seeing is that there's a gap between the promise of agentic AI and the data that most organizations are working with. So on paper, agentic AI seems great. And in many ways it is. But in practice, the data that's required to power agentic AI is hard to access. It's trapped across different systems like legacy, hybrids, cloud, on-premise. And even once you get access to the data, it's incomplete. It's missing context. It's lacking attributes. It's out of date. It's inconsistent and wrong in multiple different formats. Also, it's not compliant. There's growing risk around that because with more autonomous agents, autonomous AI, we need traceability, we need verification, we need governance built in. And many systems are not designed for that. And finally, there's the cost and effort holding teams back. Data integrity in many cases is still reliant on manual processes as well as specialized skills, making it very expensive and very difficult to scale. So all of this adds up to what we call the agentic AI data integrity gap, which is a bit of a mouthful. I apologize for that, but it's really crucial to see that there is a gap here so that we can address it. So how are we doing that? To close this gap, you need a playbook really built for the new demands of agentic AI. And what we've done precisely is that we've been researching into this. We identified six success criteria, 6 success principles that define what we mean by agentic ready data. Essentially, it's data that's unified, enriched, real-time, and efficient to really support those autonomous AI at scale. And this will be applicable no matter what tooling you choose at the end of the day. So it really starts with unifying your data, connecting all of your data across hybrid and legacy systems into a single trusted foundation that's easy to discover and use. The next, you've got getting an enrichment edge. Often you need more than just the raw data. You need context. And that often means third-party data that could be around location, demands, trends to really help you make smarter decisions, smarter and more informed decisions. Third, about operating in the now. So AI can't wait for yesterday's updates. Data is continuously refreshed. So every agentic decision needs to be based on what's happening right now, of course, depending on the actual use case. And fourth, the data needs to be shaped for purpose. So instead of having one giant bucket, one giant data set, it's about delivering the right data in the right context. Again, going back to the enrichment. Fifth, elevating governance, where you need to be able to govern your data with confidence. As agents take on more and more responsibility, you need guardrails. You need things like trust scores and traceability so that AI can operate responsibly, and also in compliance with regulation like the EU AI Act. And the last point is around cost, lowering the cost structure. Data integrity can no longer just depend on manual work and highly specialized skills. Really, you need an all-in-one platform that can scale and open this up to a wide range of users. So those really create the blueprint for closing the AI data integrity gap. And that's exactly what the Precisely Data Integrity Suite was built for. And this is how we really power data integrity for agentic AI precisely. So I'll just double click on that to make the screen a bit bigger. So at a high level, the Data Integrity Suite brings all of our data management capabilities together as interoperable cloud services that fit into your tech stack. So it works with what you already have. It leverages decades of experience that we have across the data management area, bringing in services, so going from data integration, observability, quality, governance, location intelligence, and enrichment, all of this into a single platform that's built upon a core common metadata foundation. And you could interact with the suite in multiple different ways. You can access it through an intuitive UI, but also through guided experiences. You can see those agents that appear at the top of the rainbow that are powered by our Geo AI capabilities. But also you can integrate with third-party AI agents as well as LLMs such as Claude and Microsoft Copilot. That really opens it up to a wide range of users, going from the technical to the non-technical business users. So that enables and powers all of these different capabilities. So also importantly, all of this runs where your data lives. So whether your data is on-premise, in the cloud, or hybrid, we can leverage cloud compute, we can leverage our secure agent architecture that allows you to deploy an agent behind your firewall nearest your data that's under your control. So it allows us to really comply with data sovereignty rules. So this at a high level is the architecture behind how we power agentic ready data. So very briefly, this really allows you to move from the status quo of traps, incomplete, outdated, inconsistent, non-compliant, and expensive data to data that's easy to access, that is enriched with context, that's current, that's standardized, that's governed and automated. So how are we doing this today? So moving from theory to practice, what we're seeing is that agentic ready data isn't just limited to one industry or one use case. It's becoming a common foundation for how leading organizations operate. So you can see, I've picked just a few, like in the insurance industry, using data to dynamically risk modeling for policy pricing, detecting fraud in real time. In retail, for instance, it's powering customer behavior prediction and smarter site selection. Across energy and utilities, organizations are using it for outage intelligence, predictive asset maintenance, and so on. I'll just move to the next screen to show a couple of examples. For instance, at Citizens Bank, they've been able to deliver outstanding AI-driven customer experience using data that was once trapped in their mainframe, and now that we're replicating to the AWS cloud. Generali Real Estate, they're using increased data accuracy to build out new models enriched with precisely places data. New Zealand Super Fund, achieving compliance for data that drives investment decisions through our platform. Also DoorDash, they're using data integrity to improve deliverability and reliability of addresses in their application. So they were able to integrate with our geo addressing and they improve the accuracy of millions of addresses in their systems. So the solution layered in property attributes, so building data and geospatial context, giving the dashers more accurate and reliable map of their destinations. This was especially important when it came to larger developments like apartment complexes and campuses, so they could have quicker, more efficient deliveries, better customer experience. So let's move ahead to the actual demo. So I'll show how you can move from unknown data to agentic ready data. And I'm just going to show this in 4 high-level steps. So enabling you to discover, assess, improve, and observe your data. So I'm just going to switch screens. Just bear with me for 1 second. So this is the Precisely Data Integrity Suite. So hopefully you can see with that. Yes. So imagine a use case. Imagine I'm an analyst responsible for building a KYC compliance report, so know your customer report, that analyzes customer activity. I first need to answer 3 key questions. So what data already exists for my analysis? So can I trust the quality of that data? And if not, how can I quickly improve this? So the Data Integrity Suite is really going to help me to move through those different sections of discovering, assessing, improving, and observing my data to meet my use case. So this is the Data Integrity Suite. As you can see, logged in through a browser. It's a next generation SaaS solution. You can see some of the services on the left, like workflows, integration, quality, spatial analytics, observability, but also governance, which really ties all of this together. Understanding not just what data you've got, but what's the context behind it. What are the glossary definitions? What's the ownership? Who owns the data? What are the regulations that it needs to comply with? What are the business processes using that data? What are the goals and metrics and so on? Another core part of our foundation is the catalog. So the Data Integrity Suite will catalog both business and technical assets across your organization. So metadata is continuously harvested. And then analysts can easily explore this data, these relationships through catalogs and lineage views. So we make it very easy to find and search and filter across all of your data sets. But what I'm going to focus on now is actually our conversational flow. So I can ask it, can you help me find a particular type of data set? I'll just open up one that I ran earlier. To help me in my use case, I asked, are there any BI assets related to customer master and sales data? So quickly it's found a few different assets. So I've got a customer master B2B table and a Tableau report and a table hanging off that. And this table is particularly relevant for me. So I've asked it to show me the full lineage of that table. So what it's done is that behind the scenes, it goes ahead and looks through the assets, the relationships, the lineage, and it's told me that actually it's got the following data flows. Upstream, it's fed by a CSV document. This is the actual table, and then downstream, it's feeding a staging table. And I can go ahead and explore that. I can link out straight from the conversation directly into the assets. And you can see here in the middle, I have a visual lineage diagram that helps you to understand the asset I'm interested in, the provenance of the data, so where it's coming from, the downstream lineage, so I can understand the impact analysis of the data that's flowing from this table, what assets it's going to impact downstream. And this is crucial. So if I'm a business user, I can understand the quality of the data in this report. If I'm maybe a technical user building out these ELT pipelines, I can understand what assets I'm going to impact downstream. This is also crucial for regulatory requirements and compliance. So first of all, from a business perspective, by looking at the preview here on this asset, I can understand the definition of this asset. I can understand where it comes from in Snowflake. Is it a critical data element? Does it contain PII? What are the business terms associated with it? This helps to paint the picture of the full assets, the business context around the asset. So it's part of the customer definition. You can see that that contains a few different data sets. I can also understand what the AI use case is related to it, like average revenue per customer. And I could then drill down into that if I'm interested to understand the business context. If I open it in full screen, you'd understand what are the AI models that are related to it, what are the regulations like the EU AI Act that regulate it, what domain it's sitting in, what are the organizational direction linked to it, so what goals are driven by these customer assets, what objectives and metrics. So I can gain a full picture of this data asset, not just from a technical perspective, but also a business perspective. And you can see here some different scores. These are quality scores. So I can see at a high level the quality of these individual assets, but we don't just look at a data set or a table level, but we drill down all the way down to a field level. So you can understand exactly the quality of each individual field. I could pick one of them like phone. I can understand the provenance of phone number. It's coming from this CSV document, but it's not being propagated downstream. If I choose another field like payment terms, you can see that that is propagated downstream. So maybe I should look at improving the quality of that for my reports. Also, I can understand maybe there are additional fields that I want to bring into my report. So now that we've found the data for our report and understand how data is flowing to and from it, the next question is, can we trust the quality of this data? So this is moving to our assessment use case. I'll move to the profiling tab to understand the profile of this data set. So Data Integrity Suite is continuously profiling your data, running data quality rules against it to get a full picture of the quality of your data. You can see the different fields here. I won't go through all the different assets or the details, but we're picking up lots of different statistics that are useful. So we identify semantic types, validity, shapes of data, value distributions, frequency analysis, string analysis. If I pick on a few fields like phone here, click on any fields and you'll get a preview here of the profiling of that column. So I can understand how many nulls, invalids, outliers, the some of the min max values, the variance, if it's in numeric, things like variance and averages and so on. You can see shapes here. So actually this would benefit from some standardization as a phone number. For payment terms, you can see here there are some null values. You can see that there is a lack of standardization here between like the top values, bottom values, the shapes. We should probably standardize this in some kind of format. And I can keep on navigating and understanding more around my data. But actually, I can also leverage the conversational aspects to get essentially the platform to do this work for me. So I asked it, are there any quality concerns with the customer master B2B? So it says, let me check the quality metrics. You can see here in the quality analysis, it's gone through the profile, it's gone through the quality scores of the data quality rules, and it's identified some key issues like address date consistency, phone number quality. There's two most important ones, but there are also some moderate concerns around payment terms, valid value checks, customer tier payments. And for a KYC compliance report, those issues are important. So they can affect regulatory reporting and fraud detection. So I need to get those sorted. So let's have a look at these rules and how they're built. So I open up the rules tab. You can see the rules, and I could look into any of those rules, understand the scoring, the definition, the values that passed and failed. So we can easily build out new rules, but we can also leverage AI to do the work for us. So I could say, please ensure that all the mandatory fields have valid data in it. Validate my phone numbers, my emails. I can also ask it questions. So here I said, recommend additional data quality rules to support a KIC report. This one I ran earlier, and it's come up with 3 different rules. The confidence score that these meet the requirements. I can go ahead and apply the rules. I can go and edit them to check them. And this is where we're really breaking down the barriers between the technical and business users. Traditionally, in data quality tools, a business user would need to come up with requirements, pass them to a technical team to build them out. There'd be lots of to and fro's, and it could potentially take months before this got implemented, or even longer. Now, with our solution, the fact that it's driven by AI allows business users to build out a rule, provide the description of the rule that they want using AI. Using AI, it will generate the rule, and then they can go ahead and test the rule using AI. So it's going to go ahead and then generate a rule using AI based on the past conditions. It will generate pass and fail conditions. It enables that business user who knows the data best to validate that the rule meets their requirements. Then they can go and generate a description using AI and then apply it. So very quickly, you can start building out rules for your data set to ensure that you're checking the relevant fields and that your score is trustworthy. And then the last stage is really moving ahead to improving your data. And you can do this directly within the solution by clicking Create Pipeline. And this will create a new pipeline where you can start to improve on your data. So I'll just show this very briefly. You can see a preview of the data below. So this could be either sample data that you provided optionally, or you could provide synthetic data. But what's crucial is that it shows some high-level quality profiling metrics, but it provides suggestions as to improve the data. So it's saying maybe I should standardize my billing country field, verify my address. You can click on any of these suggestions and go ahead and improve it. So precisely, we have decades of experience in the location intelligence space and enrichment and address verification, and we make it very easy to understand your addresses, improve them, fill in the gaps, and then overlay relevant context. So that could be demographics, points of interest. It could be natural catastrophes like flood risk, fire risk. So here I'm using it to verify and correct my addresses. So you can see here, this share road here is missing a billing city. There's some postcodes that are only 5 digits. If you scroll across, you can see that the billing city has been added. You can see that the postcodes have been enhanced, and I can just save that step and keep on building out. I can also leverage AI to start building out. Oops. I could say enrich the data, standardize it. I could say what fields in my data set need standardization or normalization. It will go ahead and start building out the steps for me. So in the interest of time, I'll just show one I built out earlier, where I told it to generate some standardization steps. So here it's standardizing country, phone. I also told it to standardize customer tier from tier 1, 2, 3 to bronze, silver, gold. And it generated some custom code to do that, and I can apply it straight away. And likewise, I'm also enriching the data using some of our wide-ranging enrichment fields around property attributes, wildfire risk, earthquake risk. And we make it very easy to overlay this data, leveraging our precisely ID. So it's essentially just a lookup to apply this enrichment data to our data sets. So as a final step, now in the story, I've been able to find my data, understand if I can trust it, apply the right level of quality rules to assess and then improve the data using our data quality pipelines. Now I want to observe and monitor the data, because now the data is in good shape, I want to ensure that it stays that way. And here we have our final service that I'll show today is observability. So what we allow our customers to do is that we make it very easy to proactively monitor your data to pick up on anomalies before they become real problems. So we look at things like data volume, data drift, schema drift, freshness. So what does this mean? Well, I could pick on, say, freshness. Freshness is like when, so how often does your data get updated? Is it daily, weekly, monthly? Maybe it's every Tuesday. When you implement the observer, it will monitor your data sets and it will identify how often does it normally get updated. Say it's every 2 days. After the 3rd day, if it's still not updated, that's an anomaly and it will raise that as an alert. And schema drift, it will pick up on changes in the schema, so new columns deleted, changed. Data drift within the data set. Say that you have a price field, that field normally ranges from 100 to 500 pounds or euros. Say that suddenly becomes 10,000 pounds. That's an anomaly. And likewise for volumes, it's looking at what's the typical volume of data within that data set, and it will pick up on anomalies. So maybe normally you get 100 rows a day, and that's 1,000 or 1,000,000. They'll pick up on anomalies and identify those and raise alerts around that. So I guess to wrap up, really, with the solution, you could easily discover your data, creating that shared visibility into the raw state of your data, assess it using defined business rules. So it's objectively assessing the quality of your data, not just your feelings around the data, but actually how good is the data really objectively, and improving and observe that data. So let's just wrap up and move to questions. I'll stop sharing my screen. I'm not quite sure what the time is.
We are at time limit, Andrew. So yes, you've timed it perfectly with the session, but no time for questions, I'm afraid. So if you have any questions, please reach out to Andrew directly. I'm sure he'd be more than happy to answer anything. But thank you for a really, really interesting session. Always good to see a live demo actually take place and everything runs smoothly.
Thank you. Yeah, please do share any questions. I'll be connected you all day as well as my colleagues. So if you want to message me directly or message with the session, it'd be great to speak to you.
Wonderful. Good stuff. Yeah, and a big thank you once again to Precisely for sponsoring today's event.
It's been a
For
pleasure.
everyone watching, the next sessions will be starting imminently. You've got a choice of 2 different presentations to watch now. So yeah, you can navigate your way there and choose which one works best for you. And I will see you at both of them for intros very shortly. But yeah, thanks again, Andrew. Great session.